Hello, it's Alpita. It's freaking hot today here in Connecticut. And I just wanted to hop on because oops, my screen moved. Was having a conversation this morning with someone, and as I'm sitting there saying things that I'm like, ooh, I didn't know I wanted that, and I didn't know I wanted that. I was gently reminded by my intuition that I am not a planner. Okay. I know for some of you that might see my organization, my OCD, be like, but Alpita, you're so ordered and you like things in a certain place and you like things a certain way. Yes, I do. Okay. And that is probably a trauma response. I was taught to be that way. I was raised, a place, a place for everything and a thing in its place. And I totally resonate with that. That's not like not true, not a part of me, right? I've learned to be this way. But I have always been the person who has been told your mouth is writing checks that your ass can't cash. And then lo and behold, we fast forward 3 months, 6 months, years later, and it's like, I told you so. So the reason I'm sharing this story is that because we all manifest differently. Okay. Some people get an idea and they need to feel into it. Some people start taking steps in a direction that they want because they have a 5 year plan. I am not a 5 year plan kind of person. And here's the thing, we try to put ourselves in that box. We're told if you want to manifest something, if you want to achieve that big, impossible dream, right? That you need a 5 year plan, you need a 1 year plan, you need a 6 month plan, you need a 90-day plan, you need all these things. And you know what? If that's you, do it. Plan your life down to the millisecond. It's not me. And I mean that in all honesty. We are all different. And I don't mean like every one of us 8 point some odd billion people are like so unique that there's no overlapping characteristics or tendencies. Okay. And this is one of the reasons I geek out on human design because it's like, oh my God, it gives you such validation and permission to be yourself. Some people think that when they look at their human design that they're going to have this light bulb moment and all of a sudden their life is going to change. And a lot of times it's more subtle. It's looking at parts of your body graph and being like, wow, I was always told I was weird for that. I was always told that I was different for that. I was always told that, like, who do you think you are because of that? I was always told, why can't you be normal? And then I came into human design and to a lesser degree astrology, and I came to see that this is the way that I am meant to be. I am meant to leap before the fuck I know where I'm going. I am meant to pull shit out of my ass. I am meant to do that. This is the way that I'm meant to live. I'm gonna give you another story. So, um, in 2017, I signed up for this high level mastermind, 10 grand. Okay, on my birthday, I get this credit card to be able to pay for it because I had no fucking clue I was going to pay this woman 10 grand, even though she created a payment plan just for me because she wasn't doing that. And this is something that I noticed that people do respond. And it's like, I don't do this for anybody, but I'm going to do it for you. And they don't even know why they do it. There's something about my energy. I'm a manifesting generator. And this is how I flow. If I want it, I create it. Okay. Anyway, card comes, I sign up for this thing. It ends up not being as, it was a lot of flash and not a lot of substance, okay? But what I did get out of that $10,000 mastermind was I met a woman. Her name is Neve, and she lives in Switzerland. And she's like, hey, I just found this process. By Mike Dooley. I'm like, oh, I love Mike Dooley. And she's like, oh, we get on the phone every day for 4 minutes and we start talking our life into existence. We act like we're bragging about all the stuff that we've done, all the things that we've manifested. Are you interested? And I'm like, fuck yeah. It sounds right about my alley. Usually I'll say something and sure enough, within minutes, hours, days, weeks, sometimes years, it will manifest. I don't always have to do something about it. Sometimes I do, but a lot of times I don't. Okay. So we decided that 4:44 a.m. was the time because she lived in Switzerland and that was the time, and it just synchronistic, right? And we started doing this. We were doing this for maybe about 2 or 3 months, um, maybe a little less. So let's see. The course started in March, and I bought my Kia Sedona in May. So 2 months, let's say, roughly. Okay. We were doing this process. And I would always say, oh, and of course, my husband at the time and I bought new cars because I would never buy order a custom made purple Lamborghini without updating the cars that we have, right? This was the story. This was the way that I justified getting this unicorn dream of this purple iridescent custom made Lamborghini, which if you go on the Lamborghini website, yes, they do have a website, it's $300,000 to have your own custom made Lamborghini. Like you get to decide what it looks like. Obviously, if you've ever seen The Simpsons, they're not going to let you make decisions that don't add to the functionality of it, but you have some control, right? And this was a unicorn dream of mine for a long time. Fast forward 2 months later, we start doing this process every day, every day, every day. And my husband at the time was like, yeah, I took the Jeep to be looked at. I had a Jeep Liberty at the time. And he's like, it's leaking oil. And if they take that one bolt off in order to remove the oil pan and do that, the whole like undercarriage is going to collapse because it's all rusted out. It's like, great. And we had a Honda Pilot at the time that we had, financed, used, and it needed brakes and all shock struts. I don't even fucking remember. Like, I remember it was a lot of money. And then I remember saying to him, I'm like, instead of dumping more money in two cars that are really like on their last leg, although the Honda Pilot we had just bought like a year or two before, why don't we go look to buy two new cars? And I didn't mean brand new. I meant like, what are our options? What can we afford? What will we qualify? What is there out there, right? And at the time, he's like, oh, I've heard a lot of good things about Kia. Kia used to be like this crappy brand, like a Yugo, and then they've really, they were bought out by, I don't remember who, but I think GM, and then they, their quality went up. So on this Saturday, I think it was the day before Mother's Day, to be honest, or like the Saturday after Mother's Day, we pull up into the dealership in the Honda Pilot with 2 kids in tow, 3 kids in tow, actually. Alex was in the baby bucket, and then my stepdaughter Gianna and then Joey were, like 2 and 3 or whatever, 18 months and whatever, right? And there was a spot right up front, and I have a handicap parking sticker because I have metal in my ankle. I have a plate and 8 screws. And I get out of the car, and he's like, and one of the reps, they're all standing out there like little piranhas waiting. Anyway, I don't mean that in a bad way, but they were so cute. And this one tall guy comes up, like the tallest guy in the group, right? I think it was like 6'7" or whatever. It seemed like it to me. I'm only 5'1.5". And he's like, what can we do for you? And of course, Elpida, open mouth, insert foot. This is how I manifest. This is how I know what my desires are. It's very unconscious. I call myself a verbal processor because that's what it is. I don't know what I want until it comes out, right? And I was like, well, if the price is right and we can get the financing, I'd love to drive off the lot with 2 new cars today. And the guy's like, sure. And my now ex is looking at me like, I thought we were on a reconnaissance. You kept saying reconnaissance in the car. And I'm like, I know I said reconnaissance, but like, really, that is the ultimate goal. Like, if I had a fairy godmother, that's the whole fucking plan, right? To figure out, can we afford whatever? So we go in, we start having a conversation. The guy's like, listen, you need to be in a minivan. Like that, this is not even a conversation, right? This isn't even like you've got 3 car seats. Like, how are you even doing it in a Honda Pilot, right? And I also have a daughter who was, I think, 8 or 9 at the time, right? You need to be in a minivan. Like, come on, let's go take one for a test drive. So we go test drive the minivan. I'm like, I do like this. I do like this. Okay. And then he's looking at a Kia Soul, 6'2", just wants to be in a fucking hamster mobile. We start doing the math. It turns out it's going to double our car payment, literally double our car payment. And the main reason was because this Honda Pilot, of course, now wasn't as worth as much. We owed money on it. The Jeep Liberty, we got like, I don't know, 50 cents for. Like, they should have charged us for the amount of, like, oh, I froze. Oh, sorry. I froze there for a second. Like, for the Jeep Liberty, they should have charged us for fucking cleaning this thing. This is probably, like, got. Anyway. So they ran the numbers. They were able to make it work. And we literally 8 hours later drove off the lot with two new to us vehicles, the 2017 Kia Sedona, which I still have, which is now paid off, by the way. We leased, and then I ended up buying out during the pandemic. And then the 2015 used Kia Soul, we financed. And then 2 years later, the clutch was going, whatever, it was standard. And actually my ex was trying to teach me, and I got the gist of it, but I don't know. Had some issues there. The clutch was going, another bunch of other things were going. And Father's Day weekend in 2020, we went back, or 2019 actually, 2 years later, we went and we traded that in and we financed his 2020 Kia Soul, brand new. So sometimes we say things, if you're like me, and shit happens. Shit doesn't move because I take microscopic steps forward. Not to say that the baby steps aren't important. There are things that we need to do in our daily life. Dishes, laundry, shit that does need to happen and move the needle. And that's where I do rely on my to-do list and my organization and my process of, what do I call it? Order of operations and all that stuff, right? But when it comes to quantum leaps, I put it out there and then the things just line up. Okay. I've talked about before, like literally me rolling out the purple carpet because purple's my color, right? And I actually, I'm a clairvoyant. So what I'm seeing is not even me rolling out that purple carpet, but the universe saying, come this way. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there's like TikToks where there's like a person that rolls out a small red carpet and he invites the person that's walking on the street to sashay down the runway, right? It's kind of like that. The universe is saying, come this way. Come this way. So I was on a call this morning and I had a specific intention for the call. And meanwhile, this person's like, this would probably be better for you. And at first I'm like, I've gone down that road before and I found that this is what I want. And she's like, well, this has these benefits. Now, mind you, as an open, undefined head center, okay, in human design. And if you don't know anything about human design, I invite you to book a session with me because it's so validating. It's so eye-opening. It's literally giving you permission to be yourself. Not that you need it, but it like helps you see that those things that you do are normal for you. That's how you're designed to operate in the world. There's nothing wrong with you. You are not broken. You are not weird. You are just different. Okay? So as an undefined head, I have to be mindful of what people say to me because a lot of times I will go down the way that they're talking about and it's not what I want. Okay? So I need to really ground into my sacral. And as she was talking, I was just like, ooh, that does sound really good. But I also know as a passive digestion, and again, I know some of these words might not mean anything to you. And if that's true and you're curious, I would invite you to book a human design session. Okay. As a passive digestion, yes, the sacral says yes to something, but I sometimes need to let things percolate. That's what a passive digestion feels like to me. I need to it's almost like this marble's been dropped into my head, right? This idea's been dropped into my head, and now I need to let it roll around in there. Okay. And sometimes it's a totally fuck no. Okay. A hell no. Sometimes it's like, ooh, I see your point. Let me digest that. Sometimes it's a hell yes. And people talk about strategy and authority, but they forget that we have these variables, literally these variables in human design that we need to factor in. I know, sounds like a math equation, and it sort of kind of is. Okay. With a passive digestion, sometimes that sacral needs time to get on board. It's like, ooh, I do like that. But there's the mind that comes in and is like, I don't see how I could do that. Or, but I wanted that, and that would get me to my goal faster, or that would take more time, but that's more of what I want. And then this person saying, well, but you could have that now and then save up for that. And I know it doesn't make any sense with details, but I'm not ready to reveal what's going on yet. Okay. It's in the works. Shh, hush, hush. Big changes coming. But so it's really important to understand who you are, to know yourself. Okay. Because we do not all manifest the same way. Like people talk about get into the feeling, get into the feeling. Well, that means you're non-specific, have a non-specific perception in human design. And yeah, it is all about the feeling. What is the feeling? But if you're a specific perception like I am, you get excited about the details. It's not, the feeling comes from the details. So it's kind of reversed, where with a non-specific, you tap into the feeling. Oh, it's this feeling of enjoyment. It's this feeling of, it's always your signature. The feeling is always your signature. I'm just letting you know that you're feeling the feeling you're looking for. If you're a non-specific perception in human design, which is right facing arrow, I believe. Yes, because I'm a left facing arrow. So you look at those 4 arrows that are on top, and if the bottom right is facing left, that means you need to tap into the feeling of your signature. So if you're a manifesting generator, what would be the most satisfying thing? I use the word fulfilling. That's what satisfaction feels like, right? It's like, ooh, this like, and I'm spent kind of energy, like, ooh, that just feels so yummy, right? It's kind of like having a really good meal and you're just like patting your belly and you're just like, oh, I couldn't eat another bite and that was so fucking good. Okay. That's what it feels like to me. You have to tap into how that feels for you, right? And then the details will come from that. If you're into the details. I have 2 detail gates, so of course I'm all about the details, right? That's where my OCD and my need for order come from. Gate 9 and gate 62 are detail gates. They both have different details, but they're both detail gates. Gate 9 is actually the OCD one. If you are a specific perception or manifester, as I say, you need the details to get excited. You need the details to get excited. It's not about the big idea. Just like the minivan, I was just like, I don't want to be a soccer mom. And he's like, no, no, no. You're not a soccer mom. You're a mom on the go. You've got 4 kids. You need space for your stroller. You need space for all their stuff. Look at this seat up here. You have the mirror. You can see the kids. You don't need that extra mirror. Like he knew what he was doing. He's like, you could take out the middle seat. And we did eventually when we only had 1 kid in a car seat. We took out the middle seat. My middle seat in the middle row is in my shed, right? And in the back is all our beach stuff. Okay. And my trunk is for like groceries, right? I mean, I remember one time I went to the Goodwill and I found this TV cabinet, beautiful wood cabinet. It was more like a computer cabinet, right? Actually, it's a computer cabinet. It's got the drawer that comes out for your keyboard and stuff like that. And I was just like, I have to have it. And I was just like, what is the lowest price you'll go? And she's like, $40. Take it out of here. We don't have space for it. And they're like, can you take it? I'm like, yup. Put that 3rd row down. We put a blanket down, pushed it right in, hatch closed, and we were on my way. And my daughter's like, I can't believe we did that. I'm like, yeah. The hardest part was getting it upstairs and inside and wiping the thing down. $40 for this beautiful piece that I use now. It's got my TV on it, our fish tank, And it's got all my herbs and oils and stuff like that in it. Like candle making stuff, craft stuff, all sorts of stuff. So sometimes it's a hell yes. Like that TV cabinet or work computer cabinet was a hell yes, right? And I knew what the number that I was looking for, and I knew I had the van, and I knew I was all in the details. Like as soon as I saw it, I knew it, and my brain is going to figure out the details. Okay. But sometimes I operate like the Sedona. I don't want to be convinced, but I need to be shown a different path because the path that I'm going down isn't the path that I need to be going down. So it takes a lot of discernment. It takes a lot of leaning into my sacral identity. And it is a sacral identity, right? In order to understand that, yes. Okay. So it's really important, not just for manifesting, but anything in your life. Okay. If you know you're a step by step, I need to build things, I need to do things on a checklist. When you're doing something different, like for me, when I do something that I do all the time, it's a checklist. When I'm doing things that I don't really want to do because they're tedious and it's like, oh, I got to upload this paperwork on this website, blah, blah. I need a checklist. And I also need to put blinders on. And it's like, Alpida, we are not having any stories because I have gate 56, the gate of storytelling, and it's in my Saturn. So sometimes the stories I tell myself limit me. So instead of sitting here and saying, oh my God, it's going to take too long, I fucking hate uploading documents and blah, 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 I need to just look at it as a to-do item. I need to put some good music on and I need to be okay. We're just going to bang these things out. I have an hour. I need to get this shit done, which is what I'm doing next. And then I can go have fun and do the creative things I want to do. Same thing with chores. It's like when I do dishes, it's at night before I go take my shower. I'm doing dishes. I'm filling the water dispenser in the fridge. I'm doing washing the capsules, and my son refills them with water. I'm scooping the litter box, and then I'm going and taking the shower. I am a creature that loves order and routine. I also have channel 515. So if you know anything about that, 5 is fixed patterns, 15 is the gate of extremes. And what happens when I'm manifesting is I will pendulum that gate 15. And then that gate 5 is like, what are the things, what are the patterns that I see that are repeatable, that are sustainable, that I know I could do every day? And put it on autopilot because I love that. That's efficiency for me. So understanding who you are, who you were designed to be, the things that you were taught about yourself, that whole who do you think you are, or you're this, or you do that, or you do that. To drop that garbage. I can't tell you how many times, like I remember with my first husband, I was like, we're buying a house this year. And he's like, but no, we are. And he's like, well, we don't have down payment. We don't have this. And I was like, okay, we're going to go to the bank and we're going to get pre-qualified. And he's like, well, what happens if it doesn't? Then they'll tell us what we need to do because we didn't fucking know. We're going to go to the bank and they're going to pre-qualify us, or they're going to say, you need this, you need this, you need this. And now we have a checklist and we know what the fuck we're doing. Sure enough, we got pre-qualified for $250,000. Fast forward a month or two later, we had bought this cute house on Canyonwood Lake. That's how it happens. If you've ever watched Seinfeld, it's the, I decided I was going to buy a house, yada, 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 and I'm living on the lake. That's how I manifest shit. The big shit. And what happens is that I forget that. We all do. We're running our daily lives, doing chores, paying bills, doing this, doing that, running a business, taking care of the kids, taking care of my son's PT, where his pediatrician retired, don't know where the records are, all that shit. And we forget who we are. Okay? And we need moments like this to remind us of our power, of the power of a decision. The power of deciding that this is what I'm doing because I know this is what I'm supposed to do. And I'm not sure why I'm supposed to do it. I don't know why I'm supposed to go down this road. It doesn't matter. Sometimes it's setting an intention. It's like, oh, I want to create my happily ever after. And you can laugh at me that at 49 years old, I'm still looking for my happily ever after. And it doesn't have to be a prince. It doesn't have to be a big gown and a castle. But I'm tired of fucking living the life of drudgery. I say this all the time. I'm Cinderella. One, drop the story. Those stories don't do you any good. I hear stories all day long when I'm talking to clients or potential clients or people interested in my programs. I've got too many things on my plate. I get it. I get it. It's all on me. But I can sit here and piss and moan and say it's all on me. Why do I have to be the only one that's responsible? I did that yesterday if you read my post, my cat knocked over the TV one too many times and now it's broken. Done. No TV. It means Elpida cannot watch TV in her room. It's like, okay. And it was frustrating because there were certain things that I had done last week that like weren't moving the needle because they were things that I felt like I had to do. They were shoulds. They were have to's. If I want to do this, I have to do that. And I don't want to live that life. And this is where manifestation gets fucked up and people slow down their manifestation because you're telling the universe whatever you believe in, whether you believe that your consciousness having a human experience or you believe that there's a universe out there that's co-creating with you or you believe in God, goddess, it's all the same on this level, right? When you're doing things that you have to do to get what you want and you're telling the universe that I don't want to do shit that I don't want to do. But then you're like, but wait a minute, I have to go post on Facebook. Because if I want people to sign up for my program, they have to find out about it. Meanwhile, I found this person by asking someone else for help. So do we have to post on the internet? Again, is it in alignment? Is this what you feel called to do? Like I felt called to come here and talk about this. This isn't like, oh, I got to go do my daily live so people can sign up for Awaken the Goddess Within, which I will talk about at the end. No, I just had an aha moment and I came to share with you. Because a lot of times we feel like we're broken. We feel like there's something wrong with us because we're not manifesting shit. And in reality, we are trying to do things somebody else's way. Like that whole, if you want to be a millionaire, you have to get up at 5:55 a.m. To me, that is not the millionaire life. The millionaire life is I get the fuck up whenever the fuck I feel like it. Because if I had $1 million, I would not fucking get up at fucking crack of dawn. No, thank you. I wouldn't sleep till noon, but it depends. Yesterday I got up at 11:30. I was fucking tired. I was up till 3 a.m. reading a romance novel. Right? Quality sleep is more important than some arbitrary time that some arbitrary millionaire said, oh, when I do this, then this contributed to my success. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. Maybe that's a morning person. I'm not necessarily a morning person. Okay. So it's really important to know who you are. Know who you are. Not who you think you are, not who you were told to be, not who you believe yourself to be, but to know within your core, this is who I am, this is how I operate, this is how I manifest, this is how I fucking make magic in my life. And people are like, how'd you do that? Okay. Not by getting up at 5:55 a.m., not by showing up every single day on social media and saying, buy my stuff, by doing things that are in alignment with me. That's how I manifest. Not everybody else manifests that way. Again, there's categories. Like when you look at your digestion and your perception, you have two options in each. So when you look at the whole picture, and I'm not talking about all four variables because there's 16 different combinations, but let's talk about all 16 combinations. So there's 16 different ways of being in the world according to human design with those variables. And then when you add your type and your authority, that number goes up significantly. I don't even know what that number is. Maybe there's certain variable combinations that can only happen based on a specific type or authority. I don't know. I haven't delved that deep into the rabbit hole. But let's say, for sake of argument, that there's 16 different types of people. These four key components there's 16 different variables. Okay, there's 16, not variables, there's 16 different types of people based upon these variables. Okay. If you're following someone who has totally opposite variables than you, you are never, ever, ever going to have sustainable success. You're just not. Because that's not how you're wired. I've tried doing the 5:55 a.m. thing. Like I shared in my stories to get up at 4:44 a.m. and do this call. And every single day I'd be like, I did my call, I'm going back to bed. Because I am not a crack of the dawn kind of person. Just not. I'm more of a morning owl, an evening owl. Okay? Trying to be someone you're not is the fastest way to failure and burnout. It just is. And it doesn't mean that we shouldn't learn new skills and that we shouldn't look at our behavior and say, oh, this isn't working for me. What would work for me? And that's part of understanding your not self and your signature in human design. Not that I meant this to be a human design course by any means. But understanding those two things help you know I'm in alignment, I'm in my signature, I'm not in alignment, I'm in my not self. It's a very binary thing. As a manifesting generator, if I'm not satisfied, I'm in frustration. Sometimes I'm in like low-key contentment, which is kind of like the middle ground. Like not everything's perfect, but things are going, things are flowing. You know, you're not always in one or the other, but it's like, I know when I'm in frustration. And I know when I let frustration linger too long, it turns into anger. And I know that's my cue that I need to change something, whether it's change myself, change my environment, change the people around me, change how I'm doing things. Okay. But trying to get myself to be someone I'm not does not work. It just doesn't. Okay. Like, we cannot be yelling at men who show up and pretend to be Prince Charming, and then after you marry them, you find out that he's a sloth, and then not take accountability for ourselves when we say, oh, I'm low maintenance. I don't really need much. And then it turns out that you're a lot more expensive than you thought. And there's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make you a gold digger. That doesn't make you high maintenance. Women have more needs than men. They just do. Okay? We just do. We have more working parts. We have more, we have different, we are not a 9 to 5 testosterone based being. We are a 28-day estrogen based being. We have to honor all those 28 components of ourselves, facet of ourselves. We're like diamonds. We have little facets. Men, they're basic. Sorry, not sorry, but they are. Okay? They're more binary in their characteristics, where women are more on a spectrum. And I mean this as an overgeneralization, so please don't come at me in the comments. Okay? So when we honor those parts of us and stop trying to show up every single fucking day as like whatever our best is, and honor that wherever we are in our cycle, whether you're still cycling or not, you're still cycling hormonally, right, in some way, shape, or form, and honor that, right? Be okay with that. Sometimes you forget to charge battery and it's at 40%. And 100% of 40% is 40%. And who the fuck said we ever had to operate at 100%? My laptop doesn't use 100% of its CPU to do this. Hell, I'm fucking lucky if it's brand new. And I'm not complaining, it works optimally. But if you go in your task manager in your computer and you see all the things it's doing, it rarely is operating more than 30-40%. And it's still running all these fucking tabs. So why do we as women feel like we need to be putting in 100% 24/7, 365? That's bullshit. That's conditioning. That's indoctrination. That's patriarchy. That shit we need to forget. Okay. There are days that I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, when I was in my fucking 20s, teens and 20s, like, fuck, I had 2 jobs, taking care of my mother who had breast cancer, taking her to all her appointment, primary caregiver. I was cooking, I was cleaning, I was doing all this shit, going to school at the same time. And it's like, okay, but I was 19 years old. I was not in fucking menopause. I hadn't had 3 kids. I hadn't all these things. I hadn't been through 3 fucking toxic relationships. It's a different person. And it doesn't mean that we can't reclaim parts of ourselves, but to realistically think that at 49 years old, I can keep up with my 16-year-old self is fucking ridiculous. I still have her mouth. I still have her uh her penance for maybe penance is not the right word. Her taste in combat boots. Loving that big chunky heel, right? But I can't keep up with her. Nor do I want to. Nor do I want to. I want a softer life. I want a more relaxed life. I want to get up whenever the fuck I feel like it, based upon the day that it is. What I have on my agenda, not the world's agenda, not the patriarchy's agenda, not what other people think I should be doing, but what does Alpita want to be doing? Do you ever stop and ask yourself, what do you want to do today? And I don't mean like on a Sunday when like there's fucking 3 million chores to do or gardening or whatever, but like on a random fucking Monday, ask yourself, what do I want to do today? I see these amazing women that I follow, and some of them are just like, go, 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 go. I launched this program, I launched that program, and that's great. That's who they are. And I love that. I love that. You go. You go, girl. You slay the world. You build your empire. That's great. At 49 years old, I'm not looking to build an empire. I'm looking to awaken a select few. Those of you that constantly see my content and are like, yes, Alpita, I'm tired of being Cinderella. I'm ready to have a soft life. I'm ready to own who I am and to be okay with that. To lean into the part of me that loves burning incense every morning. And yes, there are days that I speak over my incense and I call in things. And sometimes I'm just burning it because I just love how it smells. I want you to awaken to this goddess within you, your most authentic, thriving self. And I say thriving self because our survival self is authentic as well. There is authenticity and rage when you've been oppressed by a system that thinks they can control you. And I specifically use the word thinks. Because if you think you can put a woman in a box or control her or tell her what to do, you're just dumber than we thought. Because you can't control a woman. She will find a way. She will create a way. She may be quietly sitting there, seething, angry, letting out her rage during her period because that's when her hormones are just like, the filters are off. She's unfiltered. Think of, I don't know if you've ever heard the expression, a drunk man's words are a sober man's thoughts. It's the same with women. But when women have their period, That is the drunk man's, the like the equivalent of the drunk man's words. All the shit that she's saying, all that anger and rage that comes up during her period, that's because she's unfiltered now. She doesn't have this lovely estrogen or whatever I don't remember what the hormones do. Do not ask me. It's not my level of forte. But the hormone that keeps you chill and looking for a mate and being nice and coy and looking to get your egg fertilized, their hormones are gone. And now you're seeing the true woman. And it doesn't mean that who she was before her period isn't who she is. Both of those parts of her are authentic. Okay? But I can't tell you how much freer you are when you drop the rage. And I don't mean drop the rage like pretend it didn't happen, but be like, you know what? I'm not going to let this control my life anymore. So yeah, yesterday I got pissed off and I cried because the cat knocked over the TV. And then I also had to remember that I kept saying, stop climbing on TV because you're going to break it. And if you think that's not manifestation, it surely fucking is. You say something over and over again, it's self-fulfilling prophecy. Those are the worst curses, the ones that you put on yourself. Because you keep speaking words of ill onto yourself. And it was just the freaking TV. And you know, now I created a nice, lovely altar by spreading out the little altar I had there. And he doesn't even go up there now. Huh. Guess he didn't like having a TV in this room. Which in feng shui, you shouldn't have a TV in your bedroom. Not that we have to follow all the rules. These are guidelines. But it's like, okay, well, now I can't watch TV at night. What am I going to do? I'm going to do something else. Or I can go to the living room and watch the living room TV. Okay? And right now, I don't want to buy another TV. Because I wasn't using it all that often. And to spend money on something that I really don't need, and I have 3 others, doesn't make sense to me. But making these decisions from choice. Not from anger, not from resentment, not from denial or suppression or repression or insert word here. But making it a choice. And maybe seeing it as a sign from the universe that that's not where I need to be putting my energy in right now. Although the day before I was like, oh, I have these videos on Tai Chi and Qigong, which I really, really loved when I was doing that, when I was getting my feng shui certification. And I was just like, I really want to start playing with that. And the universe is like, not in your room, you don't. So what did I do? This is the power of being a woman. And I can only talk about being a woman because that's all I've ever known. So this is not to exclude other genders. But after I had my little, whatever 10-minute pity party, I was just like, okay, well, the TV's got to be pulled out of there because it's broken and it doesn't work now. So we're going to go put it by the trash. I'm going to spread out my altar. I like it. I can now burn my incense there. We're going to take that DVD player and we're going to move it into the living room because there's a TV in there. And because I still have DVDs. Few, but I have some. And it's like, well, maybe now I need to be going out and doing it there. So sometimes we are guided by the situations that happen to us. The whole point for my post, well, although I appreciate a lot of the concern and the love that poured out, my point wasn't to gather sympathy. My point is that when life gives you lemons, you can cry, you can bitch. You don't have to like it. To me, it's not authentic for me to be like, oh, well, no. One of the ways that I express my emotions and release all these emotions is by crying. And for all my life, I've been told I was crybaby. Stop crying. Parents saying, stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about. I'm not going to suppress my emotions. But I've also learned to move through them more quickly and not move through them like, hurry up, let's go. But in a like, when I allow myself to feel my emotions and I allow those tears to come through and I allow myself to shake my fist at the sky, Scarlett O'Hara way and be like, oh, rah, 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 it's over. But when I don't, that becomes the rage that gets suppressed and only comes out during that time of the month. By letting those emotions out yesterday, I was just like, yeah, that sucks. And I do see where like the universe, it feels like, is closing the doors and saying, don't go this way, not this way, not this way. And it feels like in some ways that there's more doors closing than there are opening. And I have to step back and be like, did I ask for this? Is this the universe trying to direct me? My intuition trying to direct me? And it is. It's like, that's not important, Alpita. Focus on where you're going, not on the shit that's breaking along the way that you don't need. So that post was meant to inspire you, meant to show you that it's okay to have emotions and to have your little temper tantrum or your pity party. And I don't say those in disrespect. I say that in like totally honoring what it is. And then be like, okay. Because a lot of times it's grief. It's like, well, that sucked. I really like having a TV in here. And it's like, okay, what am I going to do now? I'm not going to sit here and stare at that TV and wish it didn't happen. Although we do that a lot of times. A door closes, something doesn't work out. We realize that, you know, our partner is fucking super toxic. And we're like, oh, I wish he was the man I met or the man I thought I met. And what does that do? Kept me stuck in a relationship a lot fucking longer than I should have been. And I could sit here and berate myself and criticize myself. And it's like, okay, but when I decided that he's not changing, so I needed to change, the decision was very clear and things moved very quickly. When I let go of, you know, how am I going to support myself or what am I going to do or this or that? And I was like, nope, he needs to go. Period. End of story. The rest I will figure out. 3 fucking weeks. 3 fucking weeks from me deciding I was done. That's fucking fast. Now, it took me almost 3 years to get to that point, to let go of the wish, you know, shoulda, coulda, woulda. And that's okay. Because then when you look at hindsight, it's like, okay, well, my son's 12. Now I can run to the store and leave him home alone with his brother for an hour. Okay? Things happen for a reason. And I know when bad shit happens, we don't want to fucking think about that. But sometimes the way forward is by things fucking imploding, things breaking, doors closing, doors refusing to fucking open. So instead of continuing to knock on that door and saying, please let me in, please let me in, I know my path is this way, we'll just let it go. Sometimes letting it go and becoming detached causes the door to open faster. Because now there isn't this sense of desperation and I need that door to open. I have to go that way. I know I'm supposed to go this way. And sometimes we realize that that's not the path to go. Like in the past couple months, I've reached out to several places to sell my jewelry. And some haven't responded at all. One person was like, oh, you know, I already have inventory. I'm good. And it's like, okay, I have to come back to the wealthy version of myself, right? That most authentic goddess level. Okay. The goddess version of me. And here's the thing. This is why I love the Greek pantheon, because they're not like prim and proper. Like none of the gods are prim and proper. They're like, you piss me off, I'm turning you into a toad, right? They're fully expressed. They're being authentic. That's what we have to learn from these myths. Whether you believe it was true or not is irrelevant. They are inspiration, they're guides. Okay? Is that the goddess level version of myself that I have stepped into, and every day I have to keep making that decision until that's just who I am. Okay? Sometimes it takes time. We're not fucking Superman. We go into the fucking phone booth and we switch out. And even if you look at Superman, he was like pretty shy when he was Clark Kent. We want to be that version of ourselves all the time. We don't want to have to switch back and forth. Okay. Because people are more comfortable with us being our docile, you know, stay at home mom, single wife bullshit. Okay. We want to step into that goddess level and we want to every day embody that to the highest of our ability until that's just who we are. We no longer freeze, we no longer fawn, we no longer fight or flee from fear. We respond from sovereignty. Okay. So it's like when I go into my goddess self and I think about if I was truly being 100% my goddess self, would I be upset about all these places that are not responding to me? No. Do I want to work with people who ghost me and do not have proper things set up in order to handle working with a vendor? No. But I also have to be that person. So when someone reaches out to me and is like, Alpita, da da da, I have to be like, am I doing what was done unto me? This is where do unto others as you'd have done unto you comes in. Okay. You being in integrity. If you say you don't like people ghosting you, you have to stop ghosting other people. Okay. You step into that version and then you see that the people around you change. So it's like, okay, where am I not responding? Where do I have to go clean up my energy and start being that version of myself more and more every day? And this is what Awaken the Goddess Within is all about. One, identifying what you're no longer going to tolerate in your life. And it's not about like, yes, we're going to do a ritual. Yes, we're going to do, I actually give you a couple different rituals to see whatever resonates. But it's like, it's not like a switch flips. But on some level, a switch does flip. Because now we're like, okay, I'm no longer tolerating that. And who's the first person I'm not tolerating that shit from? Myself. I'm going to hold myself to the standard that I hold other people to. And I'm going to hold other people to the standard I hold myself to. And that's integrity. That's being that sovereign goddess, being that matriarch, and a true matriarch, not one that leads with guilt and shame and fear, but one that's fully in her power and her little ducklings just follow in a row. She doesn't have to nag, she doesn't have to yell, she doesn't have to do anything. She walks with confidence and they follow her behind her, right? And it's a process. Some days you're making a 1% shift. Other days you're making a 10% shift. Other days you're just like, whoa, this is what power feels like. When I am authentically in my own power, not power over other people, but when I am fully in my sovereignty. And I don't even like the word control because you're not trying to control yourself. Control is restriction. You're just being yourself. You're just expressing yourself. You're being the most authentic version of yourself. And if that's being angry, it's being angry, but not staying in that anger, not turning that anger into resentment, into vengeance, but turning that anger into like, okay, I see what's going on here. I don't like that. Not going to do that. Not going to tolerate that. We don't do that here. That shit not welcome here. You need not apply. And then you make a different decision. You set a boundary. You stop using certain words. You stop doing certain things. You stop associating with certain people. Okay? This is what this looks like. But it starts with identifying who you're not and who you are. What do you want and what will you no longer tolerate? You're creating your own blueprint. And not only are you creating your own blueprint for your life, but you're also getting really deep into knowing yourself, trusting yourself, that when you say things that other people would look at crazy, you know you're just about to fucking quantum leap because that's just how you roll. Or when you start pulling out your spreadsheet and you're like, okay, I want to do this thing, and I know that the best way for me to do it is to create a checklist, you fucking lean into that. You let go of the stories of like, you're so fucking weird. Why do you do that? Or you can't do that. Girls don't do that. You can't be that. You let that shit go. And even if it's running out around the background, you're like, thank you, next. And you keep moving forward. Keep doing you and being you. That's what Awaken the Goddess Within is. It's not some step-by-step program. It's not some cookie cutter stuff that is only designed for a certain part of the population. Again, I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying we are not all the same. Okay? Some of us need more structure, some of us need less structure. But when you find yourself saying, I need to do something, chances are you don't. That's your conditioning talking. One of the first coaches I hired her because she was very type A, came from corporate, very by the book. And I was like, oh, I need more discipline. I came to find out that by working with her that I don't need more discipline. Do I need certain routines in my life? Absolutely. I need the dishes and the laundry and all those things that happen every day to run on clockwork. But I also need to be patient and have grace with myself because there are days, like beach days, where I'm not fucking coming home at 10 o'clock at night, helping kids get bathed, bringing in all our sandy shit, putting it in the washing machine and washing all the stuff, and then doing fucking dishes. Not happening. So saying to myself, it's okay. It doesn't have to be done. I get to decide when I do dishes. And if I want to do them every other day or I don't do them on beach day, that's on me. There's nobody sitting there with their little task list and saying, Elpida, you didn't do this. You're a horrible parent. You're a horrible woman. Because if they were, I'd be giving them the finger. It's like, having dirty dishes does not mean I'm a bad parent. Making your children eat off dirty dishes, that's a bad parent. Right? So recognizing who you are, really knowing who you are and accepting who you are and working within your zone of genius. Stop trying to be someone you're not. Okay? I am never going to be a size 2. I am never going to be 5'5". Okay? I am never going to be the quietest person in the room. I am never not going to tell the inappropriate or the punny joke because most likely people don't get it and don't appreciate it. I'm going to say it anyway. Sometimes I'm fucking walking along and I'm just laughing to myself because I just made a joke. And there's no one there, but I'm going to laugh anyway because that's who I am. That's me being authentically me. And people want to look at me like I'm crazy. Oh, well. I was their entertainment for the day. Who the fuck cares? But I am never going to have the life that I want if I think or believe or do what everybody else does, because that's not who I am. And it doesn't mean that everything I do is weird and eccentric. I fucking put my pants on one leg at a time too. Okay? But it's by embracing my uniqueness, by leaning into who I am, by listening to my intuition when it's like, ooh, yeah. Ooh, I want that. And instead of justifying it or questioning it or doubting it or wondering how, I let go. Take my hands off the wheel. I say, Goddess, take the wheel. And I mean the goddess within me, that divine aspect of myself, the soul having a human experience. She has a bigger picture. She can see further than I can. She's not limited by my experiences, my past, my trauma. She can see the bigger picture and she's like, this is easy. This is a 3-step process. And I'm like, my human self is like, no. Like, we need everything in triplicate. We need like an 87-point checklist. And my goddess is like, yeah, no, you don't. No, you don't. You think you do. You're just making it more fucking complicated than it needs to be. Okay? Because that limited part of us, that human part of us, is survival mode. It's the human trying to make it through the day. And if that's who you want to be, you have every right to do that. But I know that most of us do not, especially us women who are just so fucking tired of everybody telling us what to do. Telling us who we need to be, what the standards are, and the standards are just a fucking big paradox rolled up in enigma. And there's no fucking directions, and who the fuck cares? Because whatever you do, you're wrong. This world is not going to change unless we take responsibility for ourselves. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't be protesting and voting politicians out and all. Yes, absolutely do that. But those are like once a year, once in a lifetime opportunities for change. Every single moment of your day, you have an opportunity to lean into being more you, to being the goddess version of yourself, to saying yes to your hopes and dreams, your desires, what you truly want. Not from a place of like, well, yeah, I guess, I would be happier and happy wife, happy life, and all that shit. No, because your soul is like, I'm not going to rest until you experience that. I'm not going to stop calling you until we do this. That desire isn't going away. And you can either be on your deathbed sitting there and regret at all the things that you didn't do, or you could be living your life. And let me tell you, I think everybody hits that moment of replay, and there's always going to be shit that you're like, yeah, that would have been nice to do. Should have said yes to that. Should have said no to that. But it'd be nice if that list is really motherfucking short. Okay? So if you're picking up what I'm putting down, if you're like me, we're like following checklists and doing everything by the book does not suit you. You need a more intuitive approach. You really need to reconnect with your own intuition. Then Awaken the Goddess Within is the experience for you, because it is an experience. It's not some program. It's not some like connect the dots stuff. Okay? Yes, I have exercises and rituals that we're going to do. But I will tell you, I will show up to a call and have this curriculum, and it's all guidelines. Captain Jack Sparrow, it's always the guidelines. And I will look at the people that are looking at me. I will be hearing you and feeling your energy. And I might just throw all that shit away and we're going to do something else. Because this is, I love this word, bespoke experience. It is a bespoke experience. I love that word. Okay. This is about custom creating what you need. Yes, there will be modules. Actually filmed a whole bunch of them last night. Just sat here laying in my bed being like, okay, we need to get this down. But I know when the moment comes that I trust my intuition, because this is how I run my courses, programs, my consulting. What do you need? Not just what does Elpida want to teach, but what do you need in that moment? What are you going through? How can I support you? How can I share a tool that either you can use or can inspire you to create the life that you want, to step more into being who you are? It's not about the worksheet. It's not about the video. It's not about the ritual. It's about who you will become when you show up twice a month. It's going to be the Saturday closest to the full moon. First one starts August 9th, which is actually the full moon. And being present and being honest. This is the shit that I've been tolerating, and no more. Thou shalt not pass. Drawing that line in the sand and saying, I'm not tolerating this shit. I'm not tolerating this from other people. I'm not tolerating it from other people, from myself. But also knowing it's a process. That some things you just will never do again. And then other thing, it's going to take baby steps. And having grace with yourself. Some things you're going to need a fucking checklist. Some things you're going to have to take a step back and be like, okay, I've never done this before. Let me look at what other people are doing. Let me, experiment. But if you sign up and you show up or watch the replay, you don't even have to watch the replay, because I'm going to create videos of everything that we do, little chunk. All the videos I created last night are like 15 minutes or less. And then you can go do it on your own. So if you can't show up on every call, you don't have to go listen to a 90-minute and sit there while we are writing or whatever we're doing. Because I know what that feels like. That fucking sucks. Like, no. I'm gonna chunk that. If you want to go and you want to listen to the Q&A, we're going to do some live coaching or alchemy or whatever people need. That's great. Otherwise, there'll be videos for you to go to and click on and be like, okay, this is the ritual they did, or this is the process they did. Let me go do it. And then there's a Facebook group where you can go in and be like, sorry, I missed the call or whatever. You don't have to apologize. Actually, we need to stop apologizing for shit. Um, I did the ritual or the process and I need some guidance. And I will respond within 24 hours. Usually I'm like right on it, but okay. And I will guide you through it. And if you decide to be on one of the higher tiers where you get some one-on-one, we can talk about it on that call and I can guide you through it. But this is not to put more stuff on your plate. This is for you to actually decide what really belongs on your plate. Do you have to do all those things? What can you delegate? I have this really cool process called the toleration list. And it's really like you start to really look at all the shit that you do every day, the things that you're tolerating, the shit that's like, ugh. And you get to create a strategy for how to like get that shit off your plate. Sometimes it's auto ship. Sometimes it's being like delegating it to someone else, whether it's paying someone or being like, kid, this is your job. But there's a way to handle these things so that they're not constant frustrations every day, every week, every month. You just haven't had the time to sit down and think about what would work best for me. You're constantly like every day reinventing the wheel. And I know what that's like. I've been there. I don't do that anymore. Wow. I don't reinvent the wheel on shit that I know how to do. Just to give you an example, I have a little checklist for when we go to the beach. My 9-year-old's job to check everything off. And it includes everything. We check the weather. We put down the date, usually the beginning of the week. I look at the weather and I'm like, okay, this week, Friday is the best day because we got like some really hot days. Thursday's got thunderstorms. Friday's like beautiful mid-80s weather, right? We check the weather. Okay. And then it's all the things that we need. We need lunch. We need sunscreen. We need this. We need that. Some things are already in the fucking car. Wipes are in the car. Toilet paper, just in case. You never know. Paper towels already in the car. This time, actually, the beach blanket's in the car because we didn't use it. Chairs are in the car. Beach cart's in the car. And there's like little individual checklists because my mind likes a checklist. There's a part of me that loves the little checklist. Little dopamine hits. And for each person, there's an individual checklist. Do you have your sunglasses? Do you have your goggles? Do you have your change of clothes? Do you have a jacket? Because at night, a lot of times we're coming home at 9 o'clock at night and it gets a little chilly, right? Do you have your towel? Do you have your bathing suit? Usually we put it on before we leave. And usually what happens as we get further into the beach season, we use the checklist less and less because we got this. Usually it's just a reminder at this point. There's also gas at the bottom. Do we have to go to the grocery store and pick something up? There's lines for us to fill in what we're having for lunch and dinner if we're staying there for that. There's lines to put in what are the snacks that we need because sometimes mom's got to go to the grocery store or has to wash the grapes or whatever. This is an extensive checklist because I know how I roll. But I also find that every time we do this, because I'm a manifesting generator, I create more efficiency by leaving shit in the car. By prepping things the night before. Like I bring this giant 1-gallon container of water. I prep that the night before because we have a water dispenser with a spigot. It's, I think, 2 gallons, 2.5 gallons in the fridge. And we don't want to drain that because then when I come home at night, I got to refill it. So what I do is I fill the 1-gallon jug separately the night before when I'm filling the water dispenser and giving the cats fresh water. See what I mean? I create efficiency because I know what I need to do. And it's like, I might as well do it now. It saves me time. I fill my water bottle at night. Again, not taking more water out of the water dispenser, right? I put ice cubes in a couple days earlier if they're not already in the freezer. This is because I know myself. Because I know what I need to do to get the fuck out the door. My boys have Crocs. Throw them in the fucking wash machine. Can't be bothered with that. Just throw them in everything goes in the washing machine when we come home. That washing machine is empty and waiting for all our beach stuff. All the beach stuff goes in. It gets run twice on the sanitary cycle. The next day, bam, everything's done. And then all your stuff goes into your room and you put your stuff in there. I don't put my beach towel back in my closet. I put it back in my bag. This is what I mean. When you know yourself, you're certain you know how to do the things you know how to do. That eliminates a lot of that fatigue of like constantly having to make appointments and constantly having to do to-do lists and constantly, like when you notice a pattern, this is the way I do stuff. Stop trying to do things differently. Just be the way that you were meant to be. And then for things that you've never done before, then you need to really lean into your variables. Because if you're a passive digestion, the way will be shown to you. The little constellations of your root will light up. And you'll be like, If you think you know the way, it's not the way. If you think you know what to do, most likely it's not what you need to do if you're a passive digestion. Your job is not to figure out the how. Your job is to get super specific on what you want or get into that feeling depending upon your perception and lean into that. Like lean. And not in a passive way as in like, there's nothing I have to do. But it's like, if my sacral is not telling me that there's something for me to do, it's not lighting up. If I'm saying, oh, should I do this? Nah. Should I do this? It's not lighting up. Then I need to go do something that lights me up. And sometimes that's diamond painting on a work day. And this isn't like, oh, you know, we can't let our mood or our emotions dictate the life that we have. It's not about that. We also can't dismiss our feelings and our intuition. Because if your mind is saying you need to post 1,000 times a day and your intuition is saying, ugh, like literally gag me with a spoon, Becky. Sorry. Gen X. Ugh. It's not going to work. And then you're going to be like, why isn't this working? Everybody else posts 1,000 times a day. Because that's not your strategy. That's not how you call in your people. And I've had people who are like, Alpita, you know, hour-long freaking live streams don't convert into clients. Really? Because they do for me. Not every single hour-long live turns into a client. But I've done it. It's almost like the more you tell me I can't do it, the more I want to do it. That inner Aquarius rebel. Okay? So it's really, really important to know who you are, to accept who you are, and to lean into it. And I'm not talking about the trauma, PTSD, survival version of you. Although, if you are in a survival situation, that's what you motherfucking lean into. Because that part of you has gotten you out of scarier situations than you even know. So you lean into that. You use that part of you, that aspect of you, when you're in a situation when you're truly in jeopardy. But when you're just living your life, you need to tell that part of you, like, we're good. Emails are not anything to panic about. Shit not going our way isn't something to panic about. And again, we honor our feelings. We cry if that's the way that we process shit. And then we dust ourselves off, wipe our face, wash your face, and then we move on. Okay, what am I going to do now? Because procrastination is a freeze response. We either don't want to do the thing, we're scared of doing the thing, we don't know how to do the thing. And when we determine what it is that's going on underneath that procrastination freeze response, then the path becomes a little clearer. If it's, I don't want to do it, well, not that it's always easy, then I need to extricate myself from that thing. Okay? If it's a not now, then it's a not now. Trusting your intuition to kick in and be like, okay, now go. Sometimes I call, like, sometimes with With a passive digestion, it kind of feels like you're playing this game of double dutch. It's that jump rope where the two, you're just like waiting. You're like, jump. And when you jump, it's perfect. It's beautiful. You quantum leap. But when you're like, when you're in your head, not going to work. If you have undefined or open head, anytime your mind tells you to do something, it's usually not the right thing. Unless your sacral's like, yes. But if it's all in your head and you're like, I should do this and I should do that, don't waste your time. I'm just telling you from experience, don't waste your time. Okay. And we are going to do some basic human design in this. There will be optional modules that you can go geek out on and be like, ooh, I have that passive digestion. What does this mean about me? Because it's a little bit more nuanced than that. And there'll be some feng shui, because feng shui is like one of the coolest things. You can literally change your life by changing your environment. And so we're going to have some optional modules. Again, these are optional. You look at it and you're like, ooh, that sounds cool. Let me go click on it. Let me go watch this 15-20 minute video and see if this is something I want to participate in. Okay. But imagine if you took the next 13 months and really got clear as to who you are, accepted yourself, all of yourself, and started to make decisions from that goddess level, that goddess version of you. And I don't mean, it's not a version. You're already that person. It's, are you completely, I don't even like the word embodying. Are you staying in goddess mode, or are you flipping into survival mode? And the way that we start to be more sovereign and stay in goddess mode is by doing the work to deal with the stuff that puts us into survival mode, which is what we're going to be dealing with every month. We're going to be looking at the things that we no longer want to tolerate. The people, the places, the things, the situations. I don't like that. I don't want to do that. Okay, great. Great clarity. But I don't know what I want to do. Okay, that's great clarity too. And that's where I have these little processes that I will give you where you can start to play around. Make it a game of curiosity. Hot, cold. Especially if you're a sacral being. And if you're not a sacral being, we will find your way too. Okay, I'm gonna get going because I got stuff to do. I do. I get to this point where I'm like, and I'm spent. And I'm like, okay. So honoring that, honoring yourself. And quite honestly, and you know, everybody's got different budgets, everybody's got different situations. I get it. The fucking US economy is, I don't even want to call it a shit show, because calling it a shit show means that there's some method to the madness, and I'm sure there is, but it's not anything beneficial to us. So that's why I priced this the way that I did. It's $97 a month to show up on 2 calls, to take the time every month to really get clear as to who you're not and who you are, what you're going to tolerate and what you're going to create. And I know we're all like, oh, I could do that on my own, Elpida. Yeah, I'm sure you could. We all say that. And then it's, I've got too much stuff on my plate. The kids are screaming. The TV broke. The this, the that, and we don't do it. We don't do it. Or sometimes we don't know what to do. Like I paid lots of money in this one modality, and they're like, I'm like, I don't use that modality because I never know what to do. And they're like, well, just pick something and do it. And if it's not the right thing, you won't get the result you want. You'll go pick something else. And I'm like, I ain't got time for that shit. So sometimes I do want a checklist. I do want to be told, go here, do there. And that's part of the beauty of this journey, is that we're going to be creating a resource library and a flow chart that's like, go play with these modules. Go explore this. And you will get all that. You get lifetime access to that. And if you want more guidance, there's other levels where you can work with me one-on-one to just help really anchor in who you are, to start to hear your inner voice, and stop swiping left every time your intuition tells you to do something that you're like, I don't see how that's going to get me where I want to go. That's not your job. Your job is to focus on the next quarter of a mile. How do I get from here to there? How do I get to the next exit? Oh, my intuition not saying anything, so I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. And it will tell me when I go left. But you have to put in a destination. This is part of the thing where people are like, oh, how do I pay the bills? How do I do this? Instead of saying, how do I retire by the age of 53? How do I live at the beach 24/7 or 365? Not 24/7. They're using their intuition for the wrong goal. You're using your intuition to get through life, and that's not, it does, but you're not focusing on those big dreams. You think that someday you're going to win the lottery and you're going to be able to go on that cruise. That could happen. Very well could fucking happen. I'm not going to dismiss it, but I'm just saying that there are faster ways to have the cruise. There are easier ways to what you want. There's a lot of things right now that you are making impossible and being like, that's 5 years out, that's 10 years out, that's like, I don't even know if that even is a possibility for me, when you could have it today, tomorrow, next week, 6 months from now. You got to remember that a task, a goal will expand to the time frame you give it. So if you say, I'm going to do that within the next 5 years, most likely it'll take you 5 years to get there, when you could have it today. Or maybe not today, but this year. That's a fact. Our brain does that. Just wants to keep us safe. Like, why am I going to hustle right now when I don't need it for 5 years? And I'm not a hustle person. Can I? Sure. Been there, done that. I like to flow through my life. I like to get up in the morning and hit things on my to-do list, get the to-dos out of the way because I know I need to do them and I want to do them because I've decided that. And then I want to flow and do whatever I want. Like, come on here and chat with you for an hour and 20 some odd minutes. Because I felt inspired to do it. Not because it's an item on my to-do list. It's like, oh, gotta do a live today because, we have this program and we need to get people in it. I don't roll that way. When I do shit like that, it does not work for me. And you could say, oh, that's a limiting belief. Yeah, sure, it might be. But I'm not the kind of person who's going to create content for the next 365 days because I guarantee you by day 2, I'm bored. Don't want to talk about that anymore. I want to talk about this thing that's going on today. And if you're like that, where you want 365 pieces of content, awesome, do it. Be you. I'm not telling you to be like me. This program isn't about you becoming like Elpida. Nobody's like me. Nobody's like you. But it's discovering yourself, rediscovering yourself. It's actually, I love the word remembering who you are, reconnecting with your intuition and reclaiming your desires. And if you just do that, the action will automatically happen. You will be having the conversations, you will be watching the reels, you will be connecting with the people that will help you make those dreams come true faster, better, and easier than you can imagine. It just will, because that's how you're moving. Because you will open your mouth when you're in that room or talking to that person and you will say the thing unfiltered and they'll be like, girl, I got a yacht you can borrow. And my guy, I don't need him this week. You throw him whatever and he'll take you wherever you want to go. And here you're trying to be like, I got to charter a yacht and, oh, maybe I should buy the yacht and, oh, I got to save up. And meanwhile, Elpida is over here having a conversation with her cousin Chris, because I have 3 million cousin Chris's, and he's like, girl, even better yet, he's like, I paid my guy, I rented the yacht, or my buddy has a yacht, or whatever, it's all paid for, and nobody's using it because whatever, the thing got canceled. Go, have fun. Bring it back in one piece. That's the magic when you create, when you get out of the way, when you stop thinking that you have to figure everything out and do everything yourself. And I get it, as a single mom, that shit is ingrained in us, right? My mom was all about being independent and having your own money and doing your own thing, and men are this and men are going to do this and all that. But she was trying to take care of me and teach me and prepare me the best way that she could. But a lot of times, all that shit is her own trauma that she was putting on me. And I'm not saying all that stuff's not good things to keep in the back of your mind, but trusting your intuition. Your intuition is only the only certainty you need in this world. For some of us, it's our sacral authority, some it's our whatever. But that's the only thing you need in this world. Because the most magical, amazing experiences are not created by following a checklist, by following an itinerary or a schedule. The magic is created in the moment when the inspiration hits, when you are at the right place at the right time, and it just fucking flows. And I think that's for every type. Every type. Even type A. Think of a lot of the things that have been created, have been glitches, have been accidents, have been serendipity. Life doesn't follow a straight path. When we embrace the magic of life and we believe that we live in when we live in Eden, because truly that's what this planet was, when we believe we live in a friendly universe that's always conspiring to give us exactly what we want, regardless of what you call the universe, God, or whatever, things just fall into place. Things just fall into your lap much more easily, much more pleasurably, much more amazing than you could ever imagine, regardless of your type, regardless of how you operate. When you just do you and be you, you just attract the shit that you and the people, the places, and the things and the situations that will magically create your desires. That tree, and I love talking about this tree because I love this tree. That tree isn't like, oh, I gotta go move because, I'm not getting enough sun here. Or I gotta go move or whatever because I'm not getting enough water. Just stands there and it is the most amazing, beautiful tree. I don't even know what kind of tree it is. I think that's a maple. I'm just thinking those are maple leaves. But anyway, I could be wrong. It's just being the most amazing tree. And it trusts that the water will come, that the sun will come, that its job is just to be itself. And the fact that it gives us oxygen, that's a byproduct. The fact that it gives us shade, that's a byproduct. That's a cherry on top. That's how we need to operate. That the mere process of us being ourselves is what we're here to do. By being ourselves and living our dream life, living out our desires, following our desires, remembering who we are, reconnecting with our intuition is the whole name of the game. And unfortunately, we have to play the game because many of us were not raised by parents that had any fucking awareness. I mean, I'm a very informed mom, but there are times that I'm leaking trauma onto my kids. I don't mean I'm traumatizing them, but I'm just saying that I project some of my stuff and then I have to step back and be like, yeah, it doesn't feel good. I don't want to do that. What's a different way of saying that? What's a different way of accomplishing that goal? Because inevitably we do become our parents. And it's like, do you want to become your little scared little whatever mom, your survival mode mom, or do you want to become the mom that was just cool as shit? That's your choice. You get to choose. And I'm not saying Awaken the Goddess Within is for everybody. It's just not. Okay? I'm not saying that everybody should take it and if you don't, you're doomed, doomed, doomed. I'm not saying that. It's for certain type of women. Okay? Women in 30 plus. Most likely you're in your late 40s, early 50s. Okay. You might be a single mom, might be an entrepreneur. You're definitely spiritual as fuck in some way, shape, or form. You believe in the energies of the universe. You believe in intuition. Okay. And you are ready to start living the life that you know you were meant to be living all along. You're ready to be that divine being having a human experience. You're ready to leave survival mode where it belongs, the backup plan for any time we ever need it. We do need that part of us. The job is not to put baby in the corner. It's to say, you've done an amazing fucking job. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for helping me get this far. But I got this. But I want you at my side because I know when the shit hits the fan, you can get me out of it. It's not about denying the parts of ourselves that make us uncomfortable. It's about embracing them and being like, God, I'm so fucking grateful for that part of me that got me this far. But she's tired and she needs to rest. And it's time for the goddess within me to take the wheel and create a life that I don't need a fucking vacation from. A life that I don't need to recover from. To create a relationship that I am so accepted and embraced in that I don't need to ever be triggered. And I know that takes time. It's not a one and done, right? And that means also me taking responsibility for my triggers and doing the work. But if you're ready to fucking level the fuck up, skip all the other levels, like go to the top and really be yourself, self-actualization. If you're familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the way to get everything you want is to truly be yourself, your most authentic version of yourself in all situations. And so that doesn't mean abandoning your survival, that little girl that learned to survive. It's about saying she is the most authentic version of myself when I'm in situations like that. But I don't need to keep putting myself in situations like that. And I also need to do the work so that I'm not perceiving situations like that, like notifications and stuff putting me into panic mode. So it's both sides of the equation. It's not banishing her. Anyway, I could talk all day, but I have things I gotta get going to. And I would love for you to join me. So I've put the link in below. Okay, we start August 9th. It's twice a month. It's a 90-minute call every twice a month. Starts at $97. You get access to all the replays, all the calls, the resource library that I'm creating for you so that you could just go in and do the process or do the ritual. There will be Q&A time. There will be live coaching time. There's a Facebook group where you can ask questions. You can put in your work. If you don't feel like putting in there, you can slide it into my DMs and just drop me a note in the group and be like, hey, Alpita, I did that worksheet. I did that ritual and I could really use some guidance. I'll help you out. It might need for you to want to do a one-on-one call. If you decide to do the $97 level and then you want to do a one-on-one call, those have special pricing. Normally it's $555 to work with me for an hour. You get special pricing regardless of the tier that you're on. If we find that you're constantly needing extra help every month or one-on-one help every month, then we'll just bump you up. That's the cheapest option in reality. All right. Because sometimes we're like, I got this. I can do these things on my own. I can do them on call. And then it's like, you know what? I really need someone to talk to. I don't really have someone in my life that I feel safe talking about this stuff to. And I'd rather it be me because I can help you through it. Okay. And so we make that happen. There's no shame in saying I need somebody to hold my hand sometimes when I have to do shit that my brain, my overthinking brain is like, I can't do that. Blah, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. There's nothing wrong with that. And then once that person holds your hand and you're like, oh, that was easy, then you're flying. Okay. Part of the point of this program is to recognize your resistance and see where it's coming from. If you're procrastinating, it's a freeze response. And where is that coming from? Is it because you don't want to do it? It doesn't feel safe. You don't know how. What is underneath that? And what do we need to do to shift you into action if there's action to take? Sometimes there's nothing to do. And that's just the part of you that's like, oh, I should be doing something. I should be doing something. Maybe you're not supposed to be doing something. We are not meant to operate 24/7. Women are not meant to live 9 to 5. That's a testosterone cycle. That is not a female cycle. So sometimes it's recognizing that and saying, oh, there's nothing to do. I could be doing shit, but there's nothing that really needs to be done. So I'm going to go play with my kids, or I'm going to go watch a movie, or whatever. Sometimes the things that move the needle forward, and I'm going to end with this, sometimes the things that move the needle forward are not the logical things. Sometimes it's deleting your ex from every picture in your camera roll, and you're like, what's that going to do? Well, I'm erasing him from my life. That had meaning to me. That was one of the things that I did to get my ex to leave. Because why the fuck would he leave when I'm paying all the bills, doing all the cooking and the cleaning and the laundry, making sure he has deodorant and all his favorite foods? Why the fuck would he leave? So I had to do certain things to get the momentum going, to change the energy. And it fucking worked. And it wasn't the logical shit like you need to leave that worked. It was deleting him, deleting all the pictures of him. It was creating an anklet with the specific crystals that would create protection and move his energy out of mine. It's not always the logical shit, especially if you have more right-facing arrows than you have left-facing arrows. It's more of the intuitive stuff that's going to get you where you want to go. The shit that doesn't make any fucking logical sense. And I could justify it, and I could say, and I can set intentions, but it's like the logical mind is like, deleting him off your camera roll is not going to make him leave. And then my intuition's like, watch me. But you're not going to hear that stuff. You're not going to take action on that stuff if you've been led to believe that everything is checklists and doing things logically and doing things sensibly. And you're not designed to do that. There were other things that needed to happen. But it's like when I started leaning into my intuition and doing the things and feeling lighter and fresher and seeing how I was disconnecting my energy and I was no longer triggered by his shit. And I was laughing at the shit he was saying. And I was just like joking around being like, wow, you should be an author because that fiction is like top notch. Chef's kiss. Whew. I knew I had let go. I knew that my energy had changed. And I knew he was on his way out. And sure enough, that did not happen by having an 87-point checklist or creating a PowerPoint presentation. And again, I'm not dismissing those things. I do those things as well when they are in alignment with what I'm doing and who I'm being and where I need to go. But sometimes it's the crazy shit that moves the needle. And let's tap into that. Let's tap into that authentic, wild woman, that goddess level of you, and start making those dreams happen now. Not in the fall, not next year, not next summer, not 3 years from now, not 5 years from now, not 10 years from now. Because in reality, and I'm not going to get morbid with you, but we don't know how much time we have. My mom wanted to go on a cruise. She never got to go on that cruise. And some people be like, well, it's just silly. That's not a big deal. There was something about it for her. It was something she kept talking about. It was one of her dreams. And it's not our job to dismiss or to belittle other people's dreams. But there was always something going on. There was always something more important than that dream. And nothing should be more important than our dreams. Doesn't mean we neglect our kids or ourselves, but it's like those things are the things that make us feel alive. And the whole goal of this human experience is to feel alive. Not to shut down because of trauma, not to shut down because of the economy, not to shut down because the world's on fire, but to become more alive. Because the more alive we are, the more that we will be able to participate and create solutions for those things. But we cannot create solutions for other people until we are creating solutions for us until we are living the life that we desire. You can't help someone up when you are struggling and don't have the strength to help yourself up. Okay, I could literally go on for hours, but I'm going to hop off. If you want to have a conversation and want to see if Awaken the Goddess Within is for you, or what level do you want to participate in, hop in my DMs, be like, hey, I'm interested. I'm picking up what you're putting down. I would really love to have a conversation, okay, to see if this is for me. If this doesn't resonate for you, just keep scrolling. No need for comments. I have a different perspective on human design and feng shui. No one's right or wrong. Everybody's different, okay? I have different perspectives on how people should be accessing their intuition. I really lean into who they are, not what Alpita needs to do, although I will share tools that I've used. But I've also created tools for clients that have been totally different than me. And I love doing that. I love tuning into their energy and being like, okay, this is what works for me, but your energy is this, your design is this. Let's play with this. Okay. And that's part of what we're going to be creating in this program together. A resource library that people can use, women can use to really remember who they are, reconnect with their intuition, and reclaim their desires. Because those are the basic steps. Because without that, you're not listening, you're not being, and you're not doing, so you cannot have what you want. That's the game. Okay? Or you could just click on the link, select your option, hit the PayPal link, and go sign up today. Okay? Either way works for me. Some people want to have a conversation, other people just want to click and buy. Depends. Depends upon what it is. Okay? All right. You guys have a great day. And whether you sign up or not, what is one thing that your intuition, one thing that keeps showing up, even if you can't hear your intuition or don't know how it speaks to you? What is something that keeps showing up for you? What is something that you keep saying or keep encountering in your life that you're like, that's interesting. I wonder what that life would be like, or doing that would be like, or having that would be like. What can you tune into today that you're ignoring, that you're swiping left because it feels impossible, or it's like, who do I think I am, or I don't know how? What can you tune into and be like, what if I could? What if it was really easy? What if it could happen really fast? What if I really didn't have to do much except to say that I want that? Play with it. See what happens. Because that's how we start. Just like a child getting curious. That's how we start, to identify who we are, to remember who we are, and to reconnect with our intuition. And then momentum builds, and before you know it, look, ma, no hands. That's the name of the game. To get to this place where we are truly being ourselves authentically, we are being in our thriving, authentic goddess self, and calling in that dark goddess, that survival mode when we absolutely fucking need it. Not living in it, but calling it in, putting it on like our superhero cape in order to get through the things we need. Actually, I just want to say something because I just had a realization. A lot of times we think that the goddess version of ourselves is the superhero. She's she's Superman. But what if, because the way that I see the world is that 99% of what we're taught is inside out, backwards, upside down, whatever. We live in like bizarre world. What if the goddess level is our natural state of being, which I truly believe? That's when we're being in the flow. We're truly being ourselves. And our survival mode is the superhero. Our survival identity is the one that's like, hold my hoops. I got this. I got you. But we were taught that it was the reverse, or we were taught that there is no other way of being. You are born, you work, and you die. That's survival mode. And you go on vacation, maybe if you're lucky, if you can afford it, 2 weeks a year. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Let me say it again. That's bullshit. Other countries do not live that way. Third world countries do not live that way. We do not need to be our superhero survival selves 24/7. That is burnout, that is poverty, that is hustle mode, that is not sustainable. That's why people have so many health issues, because they're chronically in a state of stress, of survival mode. When you move into your goddess identity, it's what I call it. That's your natural state of being. You're just being. You're just moving through your life, being who you are, listening to yourself more than anyone else. And it doesn't mean we don't get second opinions. It doesn't mean we don't get guidance on things that we're still exploring or don't know how to do. Okay. Doesn't mean my goddess level is not a plumber. Okay. I call in an expert for that. Okay. And then if there is a real threat, then we call in our superhero survival identity. And she takes over and she gets us through. And then we go back to being our goddess self, living in flow. Just saying. How different would your life be if that's how you perceived it? If you explored this concept? Not because Elpida said so, but because, like, does that resonate with you? Does that, like, oh my God, I never thought of it that way. It's part of the reason I do lives, because a lot of times I get to see what's going on in my head. Like, I have all these ideas and I'm like, okay. And sometimes the ideas that I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And then I say it out loud and I'm like, oh, that's just like the dumbest thing I ever said. And then the thing that I'm like, oh, that's stupid and boring, that's the cool shit. And a lot of that is the labels that we put on it, the conditioning. This perception that our ideas are crazy, that it has to be like this big thing for it to make a huge difference in your life. It doesn't. A 1% shift can make all the difference. Living in goddess mode, living in that goddess identity more and more each day. Even if it's 1 minute every day, and then it's 2 minutes, and then it's 3 minutes. And before you know it, look, ma, no hands. And you're being that woman. And when you do go into survival mode because your TV breaks and you're just like, oh, fuck. You honor it. You accept it. You don't resist it. You allow it to pass through you. And they're like, okay, what are we going to do? We're going to clean it up. We're going to reframe. We're going to make some lemons out of lemonade, whatever the fuck we need to do. And then we're like, oh, wait, I like that better. I don't really use the TV in here that much. Not that it should have broken. It's not what I'm talking about, right? Okay, no, really, no, I'm going. I love talking about this stuff, and I love leading clients to really see that their dreams are literally right under their nose. Like, it is so much easier to get to what you want than you think it is. And you do not need an 87-point checklist, and you do not need all this fancy shit. You don't. Life is a lot simpler than we have been led to believe. That's part of the matrix. The matrix makes everything complicated. Okay. Okay. You guys have a great day. I look forward to you either sliding in my DMs or signing up for Awaken the Goddess Within. Again, if it's not in alignment, awesome. You keep doing you. Maybe there's someone else that you need to be following. And I'm okay with that. I, on a regular basis, and I'm on following, unfriending, unsubscribing, and then finding new people. Because I find that either I've gone as far as I can with that person, or they're not in alignment anymore, or I thought they were in alignment, but they're not anymore, and it's okay. There are so many amazing people online right now sharing their gifts. And I want you to find the teacher, the guide, the coach that you need. And if it's not me, that's okay. And if it's not me and you want some help, I can help you with that. I know some amazing women out there. And I want to connect you with who is going to best serve you, because sometimes it's not me. Okay. All right. No, really, I'm going now. I kind of feel like the sound of music. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, adieu, 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 adieu. Yeah, my songs are like big in my world. Anyway, all right, you guys have a great day. I will catch you next time, and hopefully I'll either see you in my DM or in Awaken the Goddess Within. I can't wait to get started with you. Bye.